And good Sunday morning. I'm Mo Hyder.
And I'm Lee Stoll, putting the sun in Sunday just a little bit.
For sure. I took a peek outside. I was going to get my shades because I saw the sun.
Oh, it is looking pretty nice. If you didn't like the rain from yesterday, you'll like today maybe a little bit more.
Absolutely. But the bad news is enjoy it while you can. Here's a quick look at your first forecast this morning. We're going to have a cloudy start to the day, but don't worry. Sunshine will break out in the afternoon, so you can enjoy it then. Temperatures will be a few degrees warmer in the low to mid 60s.
We're learning more about how Tacoma police caught an attempted murder suspect as he prepared to try to leave the country.
And investigators also say they had been looking for 27-year-old Nicholas Matthew for months after he allegedly stabbed a woman several times at Point Defiance Park in February. KOMO's Linan Nguyen has more.
This morning, 2 teenagers are in jail because police say they're connected to a shooting that killed another teen.
And it's another case involving young people. This one happened in Kent back in February. KOMO's Paul Rivera has more. And now to Tacoma. A man is in the hospital after he was shot in the stomach during a drive-by shooting at a cannabis store. It happened in the parking lot of a Zips Cannabis late Friday night along Pacific Avenue South. The victim told Pierce County deputies he saw the suspect driving in a dark SUV. Now, right now, authorities don't have information about the suspect, but do tell us they're seeing these types of crimes more often. Jeremy, we saw some protesters last night. The president was greeted by them. Are you seeing anything like that this morning? Pierce County Sheriff's Department is investigating after a 13-year-old overdose on illegal narcotics. Medics responded to a call about a boy that was not breathing at a home in Spanaway. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Also happening this weekend, Cascade Bicycle Club's Emerald City Ride returns for the first time since it was canceled during the pandemic. You're looking at video from years past. They were riding on the Alaskan Way Viaduct, which has been since demolished. More than 3,000 people are expected to take part in this. It's happening from 7 to 9 a.m. on Sunday. The bridge will be closed for traffic for 2 hours, so do plan accordingly. The city of Seattle is asking voters to approve the largest property tax increase in history after the mayor formally rolled out the package yesterday. The 8-year, $1.45 billion property tax levy would replace the expiring Move Seattle levy and help build new sidewalks, repair bridges, and also more. If passed, it would increase a median homeowner's property tax bill by 70%.
And so we tried to calibrate the need for someone that is still worried about their financial situation. So we think this is the right amount, and hopefully the voters will agree with us.
And that package now goes to Council Transportation Committee next week for refinement before heading to voters in the fall. A new law mandating inclusive education could cause a crisis in the classroom for some Washington school districts after several school boards went on record against the Senate bill. Now there's a question if they'll follow the new law. KOMO's Denise Whitaker has more. And millions of high school seniors are preparing for their next expensive step, and that's going to college. And many rely on scholarships and financial aid for that to happen. That's why the Better Business Bureau wants you to be on the lookout for scams. That includes fake scholarship applications that'll steal your information, or fraudulent companies posing as financial aid representatives and pressuring students to pay upfront processing fees. The man accused in a deadly hit and run involving an 81-year-old man has waived his right to appear in court. This tragedy happened last month in White Center. KOMO's Hannah Knowles spoke to the victim's family and has more. One person is dead following a crash involving a pedestrian on I-5 in Seattle. Here's WashDOT's video of the scene around 12:30 this morning. State Patrol says a pedestrian tried to run across the southbound lanes of I-5 near James Street and was hit by an Uber driver. They died in the collision, and the driver is not expected to face any charges. And there's a live look now at TZAC Airport. Today is the single busiest peak travel day for spring break. 160,000 people are expected to pass through the airport as passengers pack those bags. A new report is shedding light on a growing trend nationwide, though. More people are breaching security. The TSA says there were more than 300 cases last year compared to 72 in 2022 and 29 back in 2019.
Is it something that the traveling public should be alarmed about? Not in my opinion. It's certainly concerning about, let's strengthen that vulnerability, but nothing to be concerned about. The skies continue to remain safe.
Most people are re-entering secured areas through exit-only lanes. Ideas to address the problem do include new barriers and one-way gates as well. And some changes could be coming next time you order food from a delivery app, because Seattle City Council committee has voted to lower the pay requirements for gig workers.
Well, a law that took effect in January was supposed to give food delivery drivers a bit more of a livable wage.
And also looking ahead to tomorrow, 5 kids accused of leading police on a high-speed chase across Seattle are going to be back in court. Take a look at this video here by SPD. It shows the suspects in a stolen vehicle weaving in and out of traffic. Cell phone video from a witness also captured the moments they were arrested. The 2 15-year-olds, 2 12-year-olds, and a 13-year-old now all face felony charges. Police say the boys are connected to a series of crimes starting in late April. And also, as Theron just said, a weather warning is in place this morning as strong winds knock down trees. Video from Saturday shows a massive tree completely blocking the roadway in Seattle. This is at 3rd Avenue Northwest at 95th. Thousands of customers around the sound still don't have power. The wind's also becoming deadly. A woman was killed in her pickup truck while she was driving. It happened around 11:30 Saturday morning in Issaquah along Hobart Road South near Southeast May Valley Road. The sheriff's office says it's a windy at this time and is still being investigated. And also, current power outage figures, look at this. They're dropping considerably. Puget Sound Energy reporting about 5,000 customers without lights. Snohomish County PUD reports about 1,500. And also this morning, we're tracking 2 separate homicides in Thurston County. The sheriff's office said they both happened just Saturday morning, a couple hours apart from each other. The first homicide is linked to a suspicious fatal house fire. The second one investigated as a case of road rage. 4 teenagers accused in cross-state carjacking. They're now in jail. It started Friday night when police say they were in a stolen Hyundai and followed a woman home. That's when officers say they held her at gunpoint and took her BMW 160 miles toward Vancouver, Washington. State Patrol chased them down I-5 before stopping them with spike strips. All have been booked for first-degree robbery and possession of a stolen vehicle. All right, let's go check in with our weather now. Theron, I hate to put you on the spot, but apparently you forgot to adjust your alarm to the correct time.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not the smartest person, especially when it's time to go to bed. Talk about more changes in the next 7 days.
Wait. So do I get a custom forecast?
Yes. What would you like?
I'm
taking orders.
Sunny all the way around. I'm thinking 70s, for like 2 weeks.
That's a request, like a request and dedication, like on the radio?
I believe you can do that.
If you want sunny, I will say July 12th.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to wait like everybody else is. Theron, thank you so much. The time now is 8:38. It's jewelry with a potential life-saving purpose, with a UW researchers hope to accomplish with these so-called smart earrings. We're going to show you this when we come back.
If you're going to the game with your mom and you haven't gotten her a gift just yet, they will be handing these out. These are the fanny backs, although I'd like to call them belly bags instead, don't you think?
Well, I want to know, how am I pulling this off?
I think it's looking good. I like the wrap around all the way.
I got upside down, but still. That's our Steve. SPD did say that a suspect rammed his vehicle into the federal building, which is not too far from where I'm standing here on First Avenue, and fired a rifle. This really shows you how fast that driver was going, how out of control this was. Just walk with me here. I counted not only 1, 2, 3, but 4 planters here that are completely destroyed. Well, Mary Preston, we're still waiting to hear the cause of that fire. One neighbor did say that he heard a tire explode outside the building. In fact, fire officials do tell me in an initial report, the fire actually began outside. Now take a look at what's left of this side of the building. You can see not only is the building destroyed, but those half-dozen cars as well. This water is making it especially difficult for homes like this one right behind me that are sitting lower, not only here, but around other neighborhoods as well. Take a look here. This is the line for all the canceled flights for Alaska Airlines. It goes all the way to where the window is, stretches down to the lobby area, wraps around the corner, all the way into the checkpoint area. Now, with all these delays and cancellations, a lot of really frustrated passengers I spoke with say they're really concerned about the Christmas weekend. Being told that victim was shot in the leg while in his car. He then tried driving himself and eventually crashed into another car at this intersection on 17th Avenue and East Madison Street. That's right, Preston. The Tacoma Needle Exchange says with these vending machines, people will have free access to nasal spray like this and also a chance to save a life. This has really changed within the last hour, how much snow has accumulated since then, since we got here. You can barely see my boots here pretty much covered in snow all the way up to my ankles. Being told the suspects rammed a vehicle through the front entrance here multiple times, even breaking through this metal door right over here. The force so powerful, knocking down and destroying this part of the wall over here. Yeah, Kelly, good morning. Well, SPD says Brett Gitchell slipped into someone's backyard here at a West Seattle neighborhood and stole hundreds of dollars. This all started at about 6 o'clock in the morning, and one neighbor we spoke with say since he's lived here, he had no clue he was living next to a drug lab and always felt safe in this neighborhood. Yeah, that's right, Steve. For the latest information from the Bothell Police Department, that is one of the agencies that's part of this investigation. They do confirm with us that one person is in custody. Now, before that, one of their officers actually spotted a vehicle that matched the description of those reported robberies in King County. And during a pursuit, the suspect vehicle fired shots at the officers. The officers, though, were not injured. Now, back here in Shoreline, this is the intersection where a perimeter has been set up. Now, this is the intersection of 180th and Sunny Avenue. They also believe they found an abandoned vehicle that is connected to those robberies. Several agencies here are still on scene that have been here for several hours now. That does include Bothell Police Department, Shoreline, and Lake Forest.
Mo, let's start with the verdicts. Tell us what happened in the courtroom yesterday.
Yeah, Tyrell, all three officers were found not guilty on all counts. All three were initially charged with manslaughter and two of them with murder. Now, after that verdict came down, you can hear a loud gasp inside the courtroom. All three defense attorneys and the officers hugged each other. As far as Ellis's family goes, they immediately left the courtroom. Now, keep in mind what it's taken to get to this point. Ellis's death happened a little more than 3 years ago here in Tacoma. This trial lasted a little more than 3 months. A lot of hurdles on the way as well. Remember, the deliberations had to restart a couple of times for a variety of reasons, but so much emotion involved in all of this, putting a major spotlight on this community. Good morning. The Renton Police Department says all three were found starved to death. I spoke to the stepdad and also the mother of the two girls. They say they want more information on exactly how this happened.
It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for two girls to be sitting next to each other and both of them die.
It's been nearly 7 months of pain for Ron Anderson and Betsy Alvarado.
It just doesn't make sense to me. By the way that they died.
Last December, their two daughters, 17-year-old Adriana and 16-year-old Marielle, were found dead along with their biological father, Manuel Gill, inside this duplex in Renton. The girls were living with Gill, and all three bodies were found by the landlord who went to check on the unit. Now, Renton police say all three were starved to death and that Manuel took his own life.
Because the father, in this case, had died considerably after the two girls did.
But as for Adriana and Marielle, Renton police say the medical examiner can't determine the manner of their death, something that Alvarado says she just can't accept.
That whole ordeal has been horrible because it, undetermined doesn't do anything for this.
The couple feels the sisters weren't eating based on what they're calling extreme religious beliefs of their father when it came to fasting.
They were scared to burn in hell because of everything that their father told them. So they felt that they needed to do this.
We asked the Renton Police Department if there was a connection to them starving and Manuel Gill's religious views.
There were a lot of references to scripture and to religion there, and I know that there were some just handwritten mention of that.
After waiting for nearly 7 months, Anderson and Alvarado worry they'll never get the answers they've been waiting for. Now, Alvarado says the hardest thing about all of this is not being able to have big events with her daughters. For example, Adriana was supposed to graduate high school this month. In Seattle, KOMO News. Yeah, Mayor, what people I spoke with in that community say fires is just one of many issues that they're concerned about. They're talking about things like drug use and also gun violence. They also feel more needs to be done when it comes to housing and getting people the treatment resources they need. Flames erupt from this encampment in the Chinatown International District on Thursday, making it the second one in a week the community has seen. SPD officers found nearly 300 grams of drugs like fentanyl, crack cocaine, and meth, along with 2 revolvers and about $7,000 in cash. Seattle police believe the fire could have been caused by a meth lab.
Every hour or every other hours, people in and out. And they are very busy. And sometimes we heard the gunshot at the midnight.
Beth Koo lives in a senior living center across from it.
We would like to get rid of the encampment in our community because so dangerous for everyone.
Area residents say fires like this one that happened last week at another encampment nearby are an ongoing issue. Eric Chan's family has owned Jade Garden Restaurant for 2 decades.
If the city leaders come to our business owners nearby and we can work together, I think something can get done with this whole ordeal.
And fires are just one of many concerns for this community.
The amounts of violent crime in this area specifically are happening, unfortunately, near and around these encampments.
Now, we also did reach out to City Council and also the Mayor's office to see if there's a plan for these encampments. We did not receive a response. We also did ask SPD if there's plans to put additional patrol in the area. That is not the plan right now. However, they do still have a mobile precinct nearby on 12th and Jackson. We're live from Seattle tonight. Mo Hyder, KOMO News. Captain Gordon Wolcott and Seattle firefighter Rachel Ellers wear their same uniform, but have a different last name stitched on it. Captain Wolcott has been with the Seattle Fire Department for more than 3 decades, working his way up the ranks.
It gets in your blood, and then it's just what you do, and it's who you are.
But his latest accomplishment is what he's proud of the most.
It's been very gratifying to do, especially now that my daughter's in.
They're the first ever father-daughter duo in the Seattle Fire Department.
I feel grateful that I am here with my dad. I don't think very many people get to work with their dad.
In college, Rachel worked as a lifeguard in Seattle and eventually became a volunteer firefighter in Vashon. After making a switch to a job in the department's admin office, she realized her true passion was to wear the same uniform as her dad, which she calls her inspiration.
I actually had a moment in the office where I was like, man, I can do what these guys are doing. I'd rather be on that side.
Last year, she took the first step in the journey by starting drill school and training for Seattle.
It is the most physically and mentally demanding thing that I've ever done. I know that there have been like Navy SEALs that have gone through it that were like, this is bonkers.
And this past March, the two shared a special moment as Captain Wolcott had the honor of pinning the badge on his daughter during a ceremony, officially making her a Seattle firefighter.
I wanted to cry. I was happy at the same time. It was really unreal. It was unreal to me.
Even while on the job, their relationship hasn't changed.
Welcome to the next 25 years.
There was a mix of like just relief, like we did it, we made it here.
I'll never be her superior.
No, he'll never. Yeah,
no, I'll never be captain to her.
Despite what it says on the fronts of their uniforms.
You know, even though our last names aren't the same, like I'm still a Wolcott. Like I'll always be a Wolcott.
Mo Hyder, KOMO News.
New at 5, it was a life-changing call. After years of desperately waiting, a man from Alaska found out he was getting a heart transplant.
But when he got to the airport, his flight to Seattle was canceled because of our recent ice storm, and the donor heart was given to someone else. KOMO's Mo Hyder explains what happened next.
I could go into a fatal cardiac situation at any time.
Patrick Holland is 56 years old and has battled congestive heart failure since he was 29.
It fights with me. I want to keep going, but then you can just feel this boom, boom, boom.
Earlier this month, he finally got the call that was about to save his life. A perfect match for a heart transplant at UW Medical Center.
I'll be able to run around the park and chase the kids. My 3-year-old, my 11-year-old. I mean, I got kids here that just love to be chased.
But things took a turn when he got to the airport in his hometown of Fairbanks. His flight to Seattle was canceled after an ice storm slammed the area. He tried another flight, but it was diverted to Anchorage, leaving Holland wondering if that perfect match would still be there.
My heart sank, and it was devastating to hear that.
After trying multiple times, flights kept getting canceled. He called a transplant coordinator.
And then they said someone else was going to get it, and I understood. I understood it's going to be somebody's Christmas miracle.
Now Holland is still at home and back on the waiting list for another match. He's leaning on his strong faith and the love from his family to help him get through this battle.
Every time my wife walks in the room, that keeps me motivated.
Despite the obstacle, Holland is hopeful he'll get that call for a second chance.
I'll get that heart, and I'll get 30 years out of it. You know, I'll get 20 years out of it. I'll get to see my rest of my young children graduate.
Mo Hyder reporting for us there. You really feel for him, don't you? Now Patrick says he is working to make sure he will be in Seattle when he gets that next call. People have already reached out to help him with a place to stay.